So I kind of want to tell you this story about this guy named Vinnie. Vinnie would always sit by himself during lunch at school. I was 14. And something I really found amusing about him at that time is that he would get so infuriated if people asked him if he skated on a skateboard. I took that as a challenge to try and piss him off, and it worked. The first time he and I had a class together, I remember the teacher asking him if he had his books yet. Vinny responded with, "Well, my wife never confirmed my school schedule with the front office." I remember everybody thought that it was funny. You're 14 years old and you have a wife? He was clearly trying to get one on over on this teacher. My friends and I were skating after school and we saw Vinny. I remember talking to my friends about what he had said, and we all became oddly infatuated with this new kid named Vinny. It took some doing, but after about a week of letting him hang out with us, he became one of the boys. One of my buddies asked if we could go sleep at his house on Friday night, under the guise that we took turns, staying at each other's houses to go skate. And we'd play video games and smoke the green stuff. And, well, he looked perturbed, which is something that I wished mattered to me back then. But the next day at school, he said that it would be okay if we came over, but first he would have to ask his parents. My buddies and I rode our bikes over to where he lived with our clothes for the night and our skateboards strapped right to our backs. We met his family, who at face value seemed completely fine. But then things got a little weird. First, his dad had a huge weapons collection. At the time, I thought it was so freaking awesome. He even took us out into a field by the canal to go shoot some of his assault rifles. I know that it wasn't cool of him to do this without our parents' consent, but damn, it was cool. Next, we met Vinny's wife. Yeah, that's right. That girl was real, and she was 26 years old. Now, while we lived in a southern town in the United States, even this was a taboo. They would hold hands and stuff. At the time we thought that it was so dope. It was like dating a senior when you're a freshman. Only he was in high school and she paid taxes. Things kind of got to a new level of weird when Vinny's dad had his arm around Vinny's mom and his other arm around a girl that could have been much older than we were. 14. Apparently, that was also his wife. We then spent about 2 hours praying with the family in the living room. Well, I was raised a Catholic, but couldn't determine which religion they were actually practicing. Now, once we finished with all that, we went outside to start skateboarding. And after a few minutes, his dad came outside and ordered us into the house. Vinny's mother then had us stand in a line outside the bathroom to take a bath. It still weirds me out But I remember that we weren't allowed to drain the water from the tub. I was the last one to take a bath in that water. Also, all the minors in the house were covered with sheets. I didn't know the significance of this. It makes more sense to me to not have minors dressed up in sheets. And I also noticed that the mirrors were covered up. It's fucking weird. We were told to go to bed, even though the sun wasn't even down yet. Vinnie went to bed with his wife, and the three of us that remained just laid there in one single queen-size bed and talked about how much fun we weren't having. The final straw for that whole night was having to hear Vinnie's parents, maybe that other girl too, doing the dirty in the next room. I mean, God, couldn't you keep it down a little bit? It was almost like 11 p.m. when we decided to just get on our bikes and leave. It was dark and, well, we had to ride through some bad neighborhoods, but we made it safe to my buddy's house. Vinnie's mother would call later to our parents and leave some strange cryptic messages which implied trouble. Vinnie was pulled from school about a week later and we never ever saw him again. I don't know what that family was actually into. Maybe it just really wasn't creepy at all, and I just didn't understand what was going on. All I know is that we all felt so uncomfortable. I have no issues with religion, but this was part of their practice, and I think it was a little weird, if not illegal. All out of curiosity, I went to find Vinnie on Facebook. All I can confirm is that he, his mother, father, and one of his sisters had died. There were no public records of what happened to all of them, or if they even died at the same time, or anything about it. Probably the creepiest story out there, but one I still come back to. I still tell this story. God, so weird.